3 people with like good mics, a mixer, and then like all you need is like a good
mixer is what I need. I need that.
All right, let's hit it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I mean, we already started.
What? What up?
All right, KAMPwild podcast.
All right.
Very interesting one here today. Bryan Earhart.
What's up, dude?
How you doing?
I'm great. I just met you guys.
Blew our mind.
I know, right?
Blew our mind seeing you here just randomly in Billings. And what are you doing here?
I mean, I've been asking myself that like every week. Like, what am I doing? You know, every place that I've been. But since Waco, and we started finding out, and that was what, in March the Waco tournament was.
Yeah.
We started finding out that can I curse on this show?
You can do whatever you want.
All right, word. All right. Found out that shit was hitting the fan with coronavirus, and we were like, all right, well, we know, like, we already knew the final round was canceled, and I already knew, like, if it's getting to the point where they're canceling the tournament because of a disease, I don't know much about it, but if someone's telling me that they're going to cancel my disc golf tournament because of it, some shit's going to go down.
For sure.
So, and I don't get to make the laws, so I don't know what's happening. So, I knew something was going to happen. So, moment that happened, I kind of checked out of Waco. I was like, all right, well, let's just finish this up and go.
And it's a 2-day tournament. It was the night of the first night.
Yeah,
the first day.
When we started finding out it was like spectator free and stuff like that, and then we were like, all right, well,
which is crazy. This all happened
it was wild, man. And dude, 2020 was going to be a crazy year for disc golf. It was going to be a wild year for disc golf. The talent there's a lot of talent that comes in at the beginning of the season, and then they leave, and then they either they don't have enough money saved, or they just didn't have a good start, and they go home. But 2020, there's a lot of players that have like cemented themselves, and they're like, all right, I'm here, I'm touring. We had a huge talent pool this year, and then I got cut off. My buddy calls me from Charlotte, and he's like, all right, shit's gonna go down. Like, you should come live with me for the quarantine. I got a big house, and we have the best courses in the country. I was like, all right, let's do it. So we drove out there, and I mean, the quarantine happened. Like, just like you guys didn't have it as bad here, right?
Yeah.
You guys
still got locked down.
That's the thing, though, is if we got locked down, and if it hits Montana like that,
I know,
it's real.
Well,
Something
like
happened.
when in the South, like Waffle Houses were closing. Like, we
were shut down for a good 3 weeks or so. A solid 3 weeks.
So then, it got to, we went to Charlotte. I practiced for a while, taught some lessons, and then it started getting really locked down. So I was like, all right, I don't know how long that's going to be. So booked it back to the Midwest. I'm from Chicago, so spent some time with my family. And then it's like we got there to Chicago, and then a few weeks later, they started to get super locked down. And then I was like, all right, well, Portland's coming, so we'll just go to Montana where, my partner's from. So we came here, and I found a good practice course in Pioneer Park, and I've been there about every day since then.
Yeah, that place is cool.
Yeah,
it's one of the best manicured. It's like a park where there's a playground. All these kids are there. Yet there's an amazing disc golf course on the other half of it.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like it's a really like
it's not that big. Either.
It's a tame looking park, but the holes are laid out really nicely.
It is.
Like, I think a lot of places in Chicagoland area have those types of parks, but they'll try to stretch 18 holes out of it, and it'll be a really rough course and a waste of land. But I love Pioneer. I love whatever you guys have done with it is great.
Don't give us any credit.
Hey, whatever, man. Like,
we got baskets out there.
Yeah, we did. We bought
new
the baskets. Those new baskets were our club for sure.
Yeah,
but the layout was nuts. That was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm here, and now we finally have a schedule back, and I'll be off on the road in 2 weeks, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah, back to Emporia.
Emporia is the next one?
Yeah.
When is this?
June
And let's
26th.
be clear, you're a professional disc golfer.
I am. I am.
Yeah. Or golfer for anybody, layman's terms.
In the Montana world,
it's maybe. There you go.
Yeah.
And so Emporia, when is this?
June 26th through the 28th.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean...
That's fun.
It'll be nice to get out into the wind again and like chuck some drivers as hard as I can and see what happens. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're in tournament mode? Like, do you feel like you can just go right back to tournaments and start going at it?
I've been putting in some hours out here, like a lot. I've been getting up around 7 every morning, getting out to the course before because that course Pioneer gets packed full of people. So I hate going to like a tame park course and then having to wait on every hole.
Yep.
I'll do that for a championship course, but I won't do it at like Pioneer.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I've been putting in some serious hours, and I feel pretty good. I think I've been scoring more rounds than I've ever scored before. Usually I just play to like, build skills.
Yeah.
And now I feel
Sometimes
like the skills
that's a good
are
way
there.
to do it.
Yeah, and then it's like once you feel like the skill set's there, how do you optimize the execution of that skill set? So
that's why sometimes it's nice to go out with buddies and play for money or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of push it. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, that's what's been happening, man.
Cool. So for disc golfers listening to this, like when you go out and practice every morning, how do you practice? Do you just play around, or do you just like throw 50 drives at a basket?
A lot of disc golf is mental, right? Like it's you have to put your mind into the right spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a big part of it too?
Well, yeah. Well, think about it. Like think about golf. Like John Daly won a British Open.
Oh, heads up. Sorry.
That's just, wow.
I forgot to mount that. Dude, we were talking about doing that earlier.
We won't got a blooper now.
Bloopers!
We won't clip that.
Yeah.
We won't clip that.
Dude, there's no clipping. I'm sorry. That was actually way up higher, and it didn't look good, so I put it down. So I'm sorry, it's not.
That's bold move. But no, going back, you're right. But when you look at the game of golf in general, traditional golf, disc golf, John Daly is always the player I go back to. The dude never practiced hard. I mean, he practiced enough to get the talent that he had, but all players, Tiger Woods even told John Daly, if I had your talent, I wouldn't be going to the gym. I think execution in golf execution of your own skill set is almost more important at a certain point than having the most talent.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. There's always, like, you play a B tier in a different state and you get whooped by some local guy who's throwing like wobbly sidearms and jamming putts, with his 20-year-old putter.
Yeah.
So then what I've been realizing after, because I study golf just pretty extensively in general, traditional golf, disc golf.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that, having a skill set is good, but a lot of courses don't require a flashy skill set. So it's doing the simple, stupid stuff that's pretty boring.
Over and over.
So what I'll do is you split it up. You split it up into block practice and random practice. So block practice for me is my first 9 at Pioneer in the morning. I will throw all of the shots that the holes are not meant for. All of I'll take on hole 1, I'll throw a heat down tempo turnover, and I'll try to flatten it right at the basket.
Very interesting.
Just different lines at the basket.
Different lines to build just physical competency. Because at the end of the day, when you're coming down the stretch of a big tournament and you're faced with a lie you're not comfortable with, you better have the ability to visualize a line and hit it.
So you're just scrambling off the tee pad.
Scrambling off the tee pad and just throwing all sorts of different shapes, and I'll do that, 5-6 drives, per hole. Flick, backhand, just fun. To me, that's what disc golf is doing fun stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's your job, you can't just do fun stuff. And I think for the longest time, I thought that practicing the hard shots was going to get me good, and it got me pretty far. And then I started realizing that there were so many players in tournaments that were not as skilled as me that I felt I outmatched by a million figurative points of skill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whooping my butt every weekend.
Yeah.
And I realized that, wow, I have to just play the Nate Sexton game and chip. If I can throw 18 chip sidearms, I'm gonna do it. So I do that 9 holes of just kind of fun practice, just experimenting with frisbee shots essentially, and then I go 9 holes of the most boring discipline disc golf as I can. I'm trying to shoot a perfect round. And I used to never do that. And a lot of disc golfers do, and for some reason that just wasn't what drew me to the game. The competition initially was not what drew me to disc golf.
Yes. Yeah. The camaraderie is what got me into it personally.
Yeah, for me, I've just been fascinated with the flying disc since I was a kid. I'm obsessed with the physics of it and how subtle changes in shape can make the flight so much different and more diverse, and I've always been in love with that. But when it's your job, I'm beginning to realize my 3rd year on tour, my skill got me decently far. I've been invited to some cool tournaments. I played the Pro Tour finale last year, but I played 5 scored practice rounds last year.
Yeah.
And it's what am I doing? I have to kind of go the Chris Dickerson route or the Kevin Jones route or the, you know, the people who are just going out there to win, and that's it. Yeah. The course is a puzzle, and you solve the puzzle. So I've been trying to incorporate more boring golf as well.
And that's what's going to win you the tournament, though.
And that at the end of the day, that's what I want.
And it's interesting how the more boring you get, you actually have a lot of fun because you start doing really good.
Scoring is great.
You start hitting those putts, those birdies, birdie, 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 and that's not boring.
No, it's
your shot's boring, but getting a birdie every time or getting that ace every so often, dude, it's so rewarding.
That was an epiphany that I had. Like, you know, I won the Indiana State Disc Golf championships in like 2017 or something, and it was a B tier, and it wasn't that big of a win, but I'll always look back and remember the feeling of just beating everybody at the whole tournament and just feeling like
the consistency.
Yeah, you just feel like a wizard, and you're just like, ha ha ha, like, I beat all of you. You're just, but so it's
how's that feel, Dave? You win all these freaking tournament.
Yeah, I've been and the division now.
But it feels great. It does,
you know. It does.
But then you win and you want to win a bigger one. And then like I've gotten second at A tiers like multiple times, and I've never won an A tier for some reason. I can't quite close it, but I'm starting to let myself enjoy the thrill of that boring golf a little bit.
Yeah. Do you get nervous when you play?
I get nervous at certain events now. USDGC. Will always give me like the first shot.
That's a good point.
My knees get numb. Yeah. Sometimes my hands go numb, and it's always that first shot.
And then are you good, or is it?
Yeah. It's always
is it first shot of the day?
First shot of the day. It's always the first tee shot. They call your name out. People are watching. You know. That's what gets me going, but not much anymore. I mean, I haven't played lower than like a high caliber B tier. I think I've played 2 B tiers in the past like 3 years. I've only played A tier or higher. So it's like you kind of desensitize yourself eventually.
Yeah.
But it's like I also am on the, you know, I'll be on 3rd or 4th card and I'll hear the crowd cheering for the other people, and you're like, well, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get some nerves again. Maybe I should put myself in those positions to.
Sometimes being on the back cards though, there's no stress, there's no whatever. Like nobody's really watching you, you know. So you can just start pumping it out there, trying new things, and hey. It's from behind and win that.
I mean, in some courses, if you start pumping on some of these tour courses, you go out of bounds on every shot.
Right? Yeah. True.
No, but I get what you're saying. It's a really unique feeling to feel like you're playing your heart out and still lose by like 10 strokes.
Yeah.
You know, to freaking Palmer Beth. But
But
yeah, that's he's setting a new bar for sure. But that's kind of how I get when it comes to nerves. It's certain tournaments like Worlds or USDGC, or when I was in Finland last year, that was like brand new world of disc golf. That like I definitely had numb hands.
Is that the European Open? Or
yeah, Nokia. Yeah, that was.
That's an awesome video to watch.
We have elevation here.
Yeah.
What's the difference between sea level and being up at like 4,000 where we're at now?
4,000 is not terrible. I actually prefer the way my equipment flies at 4,000.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit more stable, so some of the discs that are like trick shot, flippy type discs, I can just crush. But sea level, I mean, I lived in Florida this winter too, so like sea level, I could care less for it, or I couldn't care less for it, but it's just, you know, the stuff that I like to throw is just a little bit too flippy down there. So you kind of have to change your bag out a little bit, but it's all, like, wherever you go, it's little differences in elevation. When you get up to, like, you know, 7,000 to 8,000 feet, that's when stuff starts to feel really exhausting.
That changes it all.
It's a lot.
It changes everything.
It's a lot different, for sure.
Yeah, you start getting like gut aches and headaches, and like if you're not used to it.
Yeah, even physically, for sure.
Yeah, you can really drain yourself.
Yeah, I actually I'm excited to go back to Utah for Worlds because I've actually never cashed at the Utah Open, and I think they're only at like, what are they at, like 6,000 feet or something like that in Ogden.
Yeah.
It's not that high, but it's just enough to where the last time I played the Utah Open, I was throwing forces, and I realized, oh my God, I don't have anything flippier than a force in my bag for distance drivers. And I was like,
cranking over,
just slamming flex shots over. And it's not how I throw anymore that way. So I'm excited to have more discs to choose from to kind of fine tune at each elevation. That's the other perk to being on a top team with a company is you can go through their catalog and just go 5 of these, 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 5 of these. Yep. So, you go to different elevation, you can pull out a lighter weight version of your favorite driver. You can pull out a flippier version, a step down in stability from that driver.
Exactly.
So the bag does change at elevation for sure.
And do you choose certain discs because you can get a different weight or different plastic or something where you can get the same disc, but you have a range of this exact disc?
Yeah, I do that with a few different types of discs. These days, I've been getting really picky, but like I used to do things when I threw nukes. You go up for like if you find a pop top Z nuke, they're actually pretty overstable. You can throw them really hard.
Yeah.
But if you get down to like a 170X nuke, that's what you can throw at high elevation because they are super pop top and super flippy. Yeah. But Discraft's lineup is really, other than like the most fat rim drivers they have, pretty consistent across the board. Like it's actually annoying in a way because when you're with a different company like Innova, it's actually great because you're like, oh, I have this champion leopard that's nice. If I get a pro leopard, I know it's going to be flippier. So
exactly.
We don't have as much of that.
I do that with ballistas.
Exactly.
The ballistas, there's such a wide range.
And with the big rim drivers,
pros,
it's easier to get the wide rim drivers to be a little bit less consistent flying, like run to run, which is actually good.
Yeah.
Exactly. I prefer that.
Yep. It's a good idea.
Because then if destroyers.
Different weights. You've been throwing destroyers
different
for a long
stabilities,
time.
That's the most like fine-tuned distance driver I've ever seen. Because I think they said they have like 12 different variations of the destroyer.
They're like different discs.
And different runs in each. And some people complain about it to like flex their company, but I have respect for that. I used to throw a destroyer, and those are some of the longest discs I've thrown. But if you're a destroyer fanatic and you're one of those guys that has 5-6 different ones in your bag, it's great to be able to choose. Like what do they do? Like they do like katana topped, or they do different tops.
All different kinds.
Yeah. That stuff's cool.
And we get a lot of wind out here in Montana, so it's great to have those different, the variety of discs. For
always have that super meaty disc that you never throw unless it's 20, 30 mile per hour.
Exactly.
And we have that out here.
True. I know. Yeah.
Diamond X is nuts.
Is it? I've only played there a few times, and the wind has never been bad.
When you get out there when there's wind, though.
Oh, yeah.
It can be...
It creates different shots. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Because 18, the last hole you're throwing down, I mean, if you have a 30 mile per hour wind coming up in your face, all of a sudden the disc is going over there.
There's a lot of local routes, as they say.
Yeah. On 18 or just
on all
just
of general, the entire course. Because there's not a ton of trees. So there's a lot of shots where you can just go around the tree or, this way. Or, there's a lot of local shots. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love 18. I played.
Did you do both black and blue?
When I went the other day. We got like 4 holes in. She got tired, and we went back. Her back was hurting. But the first time I played there for real, I was with James Conrad, and we went out there, and Chandler Fry, and we went out there. And 18, Conrad parked it with an AVR, and it was like the most beautiful. Perfect elevation, handled shot I've ever seen in my life. It just held flat for the entire way, ran out of juice, and just went
crazy.
Parked it.
I'm guessing
he throws the putter better than almost everyone, I think. Conrad.
He's got almost perfect mechanics.
Yeah.
Perfect frisbee mechanics. He has a very good understanding of frisbee, and then from that, his coordination allows him to really do anything.
Yeah.
So
it's funny you say that. Like in Zootown, we were at that player party that night, and he was throwing a frisbee out there. He's he's addicted to discs.
Yeah, just throwing the
frisbees, anything that's a flying saucer.
Yeah. Me, him, and Peter McBride have played catch for like 3 hours before, and you have to tell them to stop.
Yeah.
You need to tell them to stop playing.
Yeah.
Does that help your game?
Playing catch? Good question. Yes and no, because if you can get into some bad habits. Say I have a 119 fastback that I want to throw with you. Are you throwing any of your distance drivers like that?
Exactly.
You can get into terrible habits.
Or forehands where you're like super angled down and it's flipping up. People never do that.
Coming from an ultimate background too, like I played 5 years of college ultimate.
Oh, okay.
When I hear online that disc golf, people are like, "Oh, if you want to learn forehand, learn with really flippy discs."
Yeah.
No, you know what that's gonna do? It's gonna get you good at flicking flippy discs. If I put a Nuke OS in your hand or a Force, you're not gonna know how to flick it.
Yep.
So, I think playing catch is good. I've actually gotten a lot more out of playing catch with a flippy disc, say your flippiest putter or a catch disc, and then also alternating in, so like going 2 discs and having like a zone or like a overstable putter.
Yeah.
To force yourself to throw Annie nose down and then hyzer nose up. Annie nose down.
Go back and forth.
Exactly. So that way your body's like staying intuitive.
Yeah, and those putters, you can throw those and it doesn't hurt that bad.
Exactly. Well, that's the other thing is finesse. You have to learn how to
finesse
throw
is a big
Annie,
one.
But so that's my answer on that. I mean,
That's cool.
But playing catch in general is always good.
Yeah.
Playing frisbee.
One of our favorite discs we're talking about because it's one of your signature discs is the zone.
Dude, I've had that in my bag since I started.
It is my favorite up disc. To get up and down, it's by far my favorite.
Yep.
I was so shocked that it was available
as
a signature disc.
Yeah.
How
does that work? So they show you the discs that are available and you choose? Or?
Yeah. Well, if you get the bump, like I had a good finish at USDGC, and Bob texted me. It was like 2018, and he was like, "Yo, congratulations on your finish. Hashtag elite team." And I was like, "Whoa, wait, what the?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm gonna get the bump." So then. I called my brother. I was like, yo, look at this text that Bob sent me. Like, am I getting promoted? He's like, yeah, you're getting promoted. What disc are you going to choose?
That's awesome.
And I looked at the previous year's discs, and I saw Vulture and Force and Buzz, and I was like, no one has the zone. So
crazy, huh?
Yeah, I called him, and I was like, is anyone going to take this? He's like, yeah, Macbeth's going to get the stock zone. Mm-hmm. But he's like, I think if you choose a Tour Series zone, more people will start throwing the zone because of Macbeth.
Yeah.
And then they're going to look for a cooler version of the zone. And that's how I scooped it. It's really like, if something's available, you just look at what last year's were.
Yeah.
And if, right now I'm grandfathered in. If I keep playing well and I stay on the team, as of right now, I don't know if it's going to change or not. You get to keep your disc unless you want to switch.
Oh, God, that's cool.
But I just got lucky. I got super lucky. Oh, my God. It's like my favorite disc ever. It's like... Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that say, like, oh, the Harp is a sick approach disc and such is a good approach disc. And they're way more overstable than I want.
The Harp is?
Yeah, well, whatever discs are out there. I've thrown a Harp or a Justice, and, like, people are telling me there's all these different approach putters, and I just don't like the flight of them.
Yeah.
And
I for certain things. Yeah. Very specific.
No, the Harp is a good disc.
Yeah.
It crashes differently.
It does.
Than a zone. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
I'm not saying it's a bad disc. Yes. I like the fact that a zone, you can throw hard.
Yeah.
But it kind of like falls and fades.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discs, like a Justice especially, Zach Johnson, when he was throwing Trilogy, was throwing a Justice, and he was bragging about it. And I'm like, every time I see that thing hit the ground for you, it pops up, rolls, skips, like... Sure.
The zone doesn't do that.
You can be very precise with the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had the Harp do that.
Really?
A lot, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you, like, if you master a Harp, I think it's just
I've had it roll. I've had it cut and hit wrong edges.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I should have thrown the zone.
A zone really doesn't do that for me.
Yeah. I think the best part of the zone
the power,
too is you can actually put power behind and forehand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great for both.
Yep. It's just low profile.
And you can do slow speed or as much power as you want.
I know.
And it handles it.
Yeah, I throw zone flick on 7 at Pioneer. I just like smash a lefty flick with it, and it just goes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
for sure.
That's
dies out. Yeah, but. Yeah, I feel. I mean, it's actually like I got kind of emotional when I got off the phone with Bob because I had been throwing that disc for pretty much since it came out, like a decade before that. And I remember joking with my friend Roman that I was going to have a signature zone when I was like 18 years old.
Nice.
And I don't know how I manifested it. Like, I'm not going to go out here and say that I'm the best player in the world, but I carved out some niche and I found it and it's the coolest thing in the world because I can actually advocate for the thing that my name is on. So
congrats,
awesome.
dude. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
One of the cooler things I'll get to look back on in my life.
Yeah,
I had a frisbee with my freaking name.
That people buy. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. And I saw. Honestly, I don't remember exactly when this was, but you did a interview with Corey.
Corey
during was it Waco?
Corey Merle?
Yeah.
I did it during San Francisco.
That's it, San Francisco. And you were mentioning that you weren't throwing your zone at that point.
Yeah.
Are you throwing it now?
No, because I'd love to. I have a black one in my bag of the test runs that they gave me from this year. But I'm so picky about my zones. Mm-hmm. It's not like I can just go.
Because you got to beat them in. You got to break them in, get used to them.
It just, you build a relationship with it because it's that one disc in your bag. Like, if I throw a driver, I can land it in like a 50, a lot of times if there's a fairway to hit, I can land it in like a 50-foot circle. Mm-hmm. With the zone, I got to land it for my standards, in a 5-foot circle. I have to be super precise with it. And I could throw 10 zones and only like the flight of 2. It's not that the 10 zones are bad. It's just like you have to be like what I'm realizing is you have to be so dialed with that disc. Like it doesn't matter what mold it is. You have to throw that disc so many times in so many different wind conditions and so many different angles to truly make a decision if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Like you have to have tryouts. Every time there's a slot in the bag to fill, you have to have tryouts for it.
Yeah.
Don't settle for just, here's another buzz. I'll just throw this in the bag.
And it's also not like once it makes the bag, it stays in the bag.
Exactly.
It's always a progression.
It is.
You might interchange it.
At this
depending
point,
on the tournament too. Depending on elevation.
Yeah, so I'm just really picky about zones. I have some amazing 2019s and 2020s stocked up in case I lose mine. Mm-hmm. But I still haven't put any of mine in the bag, not because they're bad, but because...
Are you trying to break some in right now?
I have this black one that I've been throwing on 7 Pioneer, and it's really good, but I have this like concave flag crystal zone that I've just been ripping on for like over a year. And you don't put away your old reliable. That's bad karma.
Oh, sure.
You don't do that.
For sure.
Like, they get jealous. They know. They know. Who's this black one? You know?
That's funny, dude. Yeah. No, it's true, though. It really is true. Yeah.
What about aces? I saw your ace at GBO. That was awesome. That was a sweet one.
That was actually a big moment for my life.
You looked like you didn't even know it went in.
It was blind. And the whole, I had been throwing XL on it all week. But that day, so I mean, it's a far hole. It's like 390.
Yeah.
Downhill, OB, all down the right side, like 25 feet right of the basket. So it's one of those holes. Like there's a lot of holes like it. You shoot out. There's like trees in the background, but you shoot downhill to like the base of the trees.
Okay.
But you can't see the basket. Basket's like in the trees.
Okay.
But there's just like GVO every hole. There's OB all down the right side, and there's like 30-mile-an-hour winds every time.
Yeah.
So. It was actually the best wind read of my life. And this is why I didn't think it went in. I clubbed down to a comet because this wind was coming straight towards the OB. Righties have no problem. Throw a hard, overstable disc, maybe a little Annie, let the crosswind push it, no way it's going OB, and you're safe.
Yeah.
But lefty, I could either jackknife a sidearm, which I didn't like the angle for. It kind of went a little bit uphill before it went downhill. Or I have to throw this crazy hyzer flip where the crosswind pushes it, lifts it, pushes it nose down, and it, with the driver that time, I didn't think, I thought I would have had to been too perfect to like park it. So I said, take this stable comet and throw as hard as you can high, and let the crosswind shove it downwards. And it freaking worked. I thought I parked it, but I didn't think it went 393. But looking back at the back camera, it looked like it kind of like caught wind and then flexed out a little bit, kind of like pushed forward. So
it got a lot of glide. It seemed like it was just gliding all the way down and then came down at the end.
And what I did is I MJ'd it. I threw it and I was like, oh, that's parked, and I turned around.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't think it went in.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
really watching.
You had like genuine surprise that it went in.
Yeah.
When did you realize that it went in?
People started
screaming.
They started screaming. I was like,
oh shit!
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
It was wild, man. And I aced again that same tournament.
Wow. Was that on video or no?
No, it wasn't. No. That round I drove really well. That was the round on camera. I missed 9 circle 1 putts. So you just had one of those days. You couldn't make anything. The wind was just pretty wild.
To those that don't know, inside 33.
33 feet. Correct. But yeah, that was just in regards to people even knowing who I was. Like I made. Are you guys Redditors at all? Are you guys on Reddit at all?
I watch your I listen to your YouTube world stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, on Reddit, like I got on the front page of, and that's just like a bunch of different random communities, sports, politics, whatever. I was the front page. Top story on the sports Reddit, which has like millions of followers.
Oh, nice.
People from my people from my high school, like when I was a kid, were just like, "Oh, I know this guy. What the hell?" Like, it was my buddy called me, that week and was like, "Yeah, some guy in a bar like showed me a video of you, and I don't even play disc golf."
Funny.
Yeah. So it was just a big exposure moment for me. So it was just one of those, you keep putting yourself out there enough, eventually something's going to happen, and. Yep. Just like the Philo Albatross,
I was just going to say, just like Philo, yeah.
And
Beaver State.
Not to say that it changed his life, but it opened up so many doors for him. He was already such a good player, but
It wasn't like the recognition
in disc golf,
was quite there.
We need that. In disc golf, we like players every weekend.
We need those big shots that'll make ESPN.
That. Yeah,
I think that's still the most viral video in disc golf, isn't it?
Which one? The
Albatross. Yeah.
That's such a cool shot.
It's an amazing. Like when I played Beaver State Fling for the first time, I forward that hole and I was like, "Let's go!" I got the four.
Yeah, he gets it in 2.
We're chilling. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, with a flex line over the tree.
Yeah, because you gotta push the drive off the tee pretty far too to get to that position that he was even in.
Right.
So things like that for a disc golfer's career. Like that's what people chase every weekend, and it's crazy. I've talked to people when I try to explain to them like how to be a disc golfer in the modern era when you're not the top 5 in the world.
Yeah,
it's better to go into a 3-round tournament and go 4th place, lead card, 4th place, lead card, end up in 30th place. Because you got 2 rounds on camera.
Right.
Things like that. If you can get 2 rounds on camera and someone comments and says, hey, that guy's form is really good. Message you, ask you for some form advice, you charge them money, you begin doing lessons online. Like everything starts snowballing. It's not because you're this big capitalist jerk that's trying to make money off people, but it's like, it's just showing people who you are. Like,
and it's not like you're forcing anything. They want to learn.
Exactly. So. Well, the disc golf world is craving learning right now because it's growing so fast and it's so cheap to play.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah,
and you can do it your own way.
Yeah.
It's not strict. Like basketball, you have to come up and you have to have this form, right?
Yeah.
Disc golf, you can throw at any angle here.
Yeah.
There's just a massive angle you can do.
There's fundamentals to master, and then the rest is build your own style from there. But the fundamentals are all the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty wild moment for my life.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you were saying the growth of disc golf, in the last couple of years, I feel like it's gone crazy with the galleries and some of those tournaments. It's like there's thousands of people.
Horses in U.S. doubled from like 17 to 18. Is that right? Something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, really?
Something like that. Yeah, it just
makes sense.
Exponential growth,
dude. Yeah. What were you gonna?
I was gonna say like the European Open had like over 2,000 people in the gallery.
3,500, dude.
3,500 in the gallery. Yeah.
Crazy.
But with the coronavirus now, that could change everying. Do you think it could stall out disc golf, or what do you think of the repercussions of this?
I think because disc golf is a, I'm not gonna say poverty. It's a sport for everybody. Yeah.
It is.
And that's. People are craving getting outside, and I think people are living a lot more sedentary lifestyles in general, just with the access of entertainment that we have, especially for kids.
Yeah,
I think disc golf is going to thrive.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm out here on the road. I worked a nice job at a software company. I had good money coming in, but I knew deep down that disc golf was never going to stop because of the fact that it's for everybody. And when you have a sport that has a high skill ceiling like disc golf, and it's for everybody financially to play, eventually...
And age, too. That's the thing, because there's so many sports out there that you're done at, like, before 40.
Basketball, football
before 40, you're fucking
done
done.
At 28,
I've already said when I turn, like, 70, I'm going to be spin putting with, like, 140 rattlers. Dude, I'm going to be chilling. But that's why I think it's going to thrive.
There's 90-year-olds playing.
Yeah.
There's 4-year-olds
Carlos
playing.
Rigby
There's
was throwing like 200-foot rollers, and he's like 84.
It's literally every age.
Yeah.
You can do it in the entire time. Yeah, it's awesome.
And I think our hurdle is actually like, you know how like skateboarding went wild when Tony Hawk landed that 900, and it broke into the mainstream. Yeah. People all across the world were like, "All right, that's sick."
Did you see the Joe Rogan podcast with him?
No.
It's a real recent. It came out like 2 weeks ago.
I would
watch it. He talks about how skateboarding actually blew up.
And
it was because of him.
Yeah, it was because of him. But and that's the thing, and I think disc golf is so cool. Like people doing like the 900, like I just said. Everyone saw that and was like, okay, that's awesome. Yeah. That's athletic. That's sports.
Yeah.
We have clips out there in disc golf that are going viral. There's this one shot of Simon throwing he parks this 500-foot par 3 that's a forced S line through the woods in Pennsylvania. And so many people who have never seen disc golf are commenting on that, like, holy crap, like that's...
How do you do that?
Dude.
Yeah.
But I think because of how cool it is and how unique it is to other sports, there's no other sport where people are throwing objects that far and that diverse, that many diverse ways, right? I think, we look at The Simpsons and Bart Simpson's riding a skateboard. Like, that's a part of American culture, right? So currently we don't have a Bart Simpson throwing a frisbee, right?
Not quite.
We're still rooted in that counterculture from the 1960s.
There's a UFC fighter that's a disc golfer, though.
Yeah, Ben Askren.
Yeah, he's not anymore, though. Have you? He's not a UFC fighter anymore. I think he retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just retired UFC.
He runs like a wrestling academy or something.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He was 1,000 rated at one point. Yeah. He was really good, man. Yeah. But that's the thing. There's a lot of people that love disc golf. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that love disc golf. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to love disc golf because you can get out there and play for free.
Once you figure out what disc golf is, though, there's a lot of people that
especially
have this
in your area,
very negative stipulation with it. Yeah. It's bad.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Montana.
To be honest, though, there's a lot of fucking golfers out there that don't really help the situation.
Yeah.
Leaving garbage, doing this, smoking in front of kids, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Throwing in on the next flight.
Just not being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think that's
everywhere.
But that's inevitable in disc golf because it's such a free sport. Like, it's in a public park. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's actually amazing that people display the etiquette they display now.
Very
in
true.
A public park.
Very true.
Think about a time, how
really true, actually. Yeah.
What percent of courses in this country do you think are private? What do you just give a guess? Because I don't know the answer, but give a guess.
I would say, 10%? And this is, we have like a Montana bias though too.
I can think
there's barely any private ones.
Yeah,
Morley Field in San Diego, that's private.
And you would have a better idea being in California.
10% maybe.
Yeah, I would have guessed like maybe 3.
Yeah. A world where disc golf is 50-50, private, free.
Yeah,
that's still like unlike any other sport that we have.
It is,
and I would kill to have that many private courses in the country.
Well, if we're talking, if it was reality that the amount of courses doubled from 17 to 18 or 18 to 19 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was 50-50, how many courses would that be still? Yeah. There's a ton.
There's a ton, man. And the craziest thing about disc golf is even if it becomes a pay-to-play sport, think about how much you guys ever played Bohart or any of the private courses. How much does it cost to play those courses?
Like $10.
$10 for the whole day, right?
Bohart, baby.
Yeah, for as many holes as you want.
Yeah.
You go to play mini golf, it's like what? $10 for a scorecard per person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're on an old tennis court or something like that.
So I worked at a private course in Florida, and it was like $7.49 to play as many holes as you wanted, and people still were like, "Really? Pay to play disc golf?" I'm like,
what that does is it adds value to disc golf.
There's so much value. How much would you pay to play Maple Hill maximum?
Oh yeah.
I'd pay $50 to play Maple Hill, 18 holes.
Yeah, for sure.
But even if they charge that for the whole day, that's an amazing deal.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I think disc golf is just.
That's a really good idea. It needs to get more private. Dude. It does.
Yeah, but it's just it's setting a standard, and that's all it is. And that's actually my dream one day is to have, my actual dream is to have a private course on a wooded property where I can design a championship facility, have a pro shop, and then in the pro shop there's like a little training area for throwing drives, putting, and then there's maybe a little gym. You charge some memberships.
Yeah.
And you make some world champions.
Yeah.
You train some world champions. Yeah. You contract pros to come in and teach lessons at the facility and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you start a disc golf gym.
Yeah, you can't. I think it's getting to a point in certain spots of the country where that's actually something that could happen.
Definitely. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Cool. That could happen soon.
But we don't have anything like it.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Gotta start it.
It's like the Christian Dietrich, Kevin Sheehan thing.
Yeah, Christian Dietrich kind of took Sheehan under his wings.
Yep.
And
exactly.
Sure. And he's good. He's good.
They're both great.
Do you want to pass us around some beer?
Yeah, sure. Oh, is that my job?
It is now. Yeah, that's cool.
What is it?
Half.
A little half.
A halfie?
Do you want to? There's a moose drool right there too, if you want.
Yeah, hit me with a moose drool, my man.
What about I'm
not a halfy guy.
Kale Laviska. He's starting to make courses now. And one of his courses just got announced for the tour, right?
Preserve, yeah.
So are you going out and playing that?
Absolutely. So we were able to, essentially what happened was I was signed up for either Portland or San Francisco Open. TD messaged me and said, this is canceled, but if you'd like, I can transfer your entry to this new event.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it, and to be honest with you, man, Kale is doing it exactly how I think you should do it as a disc golfer.
For sure.
Unless you're as good as Paul McBeth and you're as influential as Paul McBeth, you kind of have to say, okay, well, I have this disc golf touring window for competition. What's my next career going to be? Is it going to be in disc golf? And Cale was like, right away, like, I'm going to have a Prodigy, sponsored pro shop. I'm going to teach lessons, and I'm going to design courses, and then eventually have a championship private facility, and look what happened.
Which is already happening this year,
Look what happened, dude. Yep. I'm just so proud. Like, I think everyone's excited to play there because they know that finally, like, a homie who's been grinding on the road for, I don't know how long he toured, but, like, he's in his 30s now, and there's that video of him hitting that putt against Climo when he was, like, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, dude, that's it. It's like when Barsby won Worlds, man.
Yeah.
It's like everyone was like, yes, he did it, dude. All those years of just sleeping on floors and like tents and people's front yards and like scrapping for cash here and there, selling stickers with your name on it, like.
So many people can relate to that right there.
Exactly.
So many people. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think with. Even the concept of minimalism becoming more and more popular in the country because of how expensive it is to live in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Disc golf and the story of the touring disc golfer is very relevant right now.
So is that what you're doing with your van? You said you're fixing up a van. Is that going to be your tour van?
Yeah. So I saved up a lot of money when I was working my tech company job. I saved. Luckily, I got to move back to where I grew up. The new job was 15 minutes away from where I grew up with my parents. So I moved back there, saved like over half of every paycheck that I made, and so I went on tour with my Buick initially, and that was interesting.
Sleeping in the Buick.
Yeah, and then when I got the bump up, I met Paul Uleberry at USDGC 2018. And we hit it off.
Badass dude.
We had like 3 hours worth of conversation about the Banger GT, and that's how we bonded. Was the Banger, and he thought signing with Discraft and throwing the Banger was going to change his life. He didn't putt with him, but it was a good conversation. But he's like, I want you to tour with me in the RV. So we toured in the RV for a bit. That got really messy after his ACL ripped, and he was supposed to be in charge. I was supposed to be his assistant, and then I was in charge, and I wasn't. It was just a crazy year, but. I realized quickly, like, all right, I don't want to do this RV anymore if I have to be in charge of it because then I'm tied to everybody else's schedule and I kind of have a lot of side passions that I want to dive into. So I took some money and I got this van and it was I got a 2019 ProMaster. So it's a pretty good vehicle. It's not even fixing up a van. It's really I'm going like full van life like Nate Perkins, James Conrad, like I talked to Discraft. Bob was super, Bob Julio, the team manager, was super, like, accepting. And the big thing about Discraft is if you have an idea, Bob is not going to be, like, for Paul and Beth, for example. Never told him, like, how much, he was selling. They never, like, roped him in on anything. And they never really let him be his own thing.
Right.
Discraft, if you want to be a contractor and you want to start your own thing. That's a mistake. Huge mistake for disc golfers, and I hope they're changing. I don't quote me on the this year. I know for a fact back then that was a lot of complaints from the players
because they already got what they got. Yeah. Why not allow somebody else to promote?
That's why Paige is thriving, dude. Because Paige is a hustler, dude. Yeah. Discraft's like, let's go, let's sell some discs. But so then I told Bob about it, and he's like, yeah, we'll adjust your contract for next year, and he kind of like readjusted the contract to fit the van, and we're almost done. I'm gutting it. I'm trying to make it look like the YouTube vans. Like I'm going in on it. Yeah. So I'm about 2 weeks out from like even like a slide out like 600 disc like.
I figured you'd drive up in it, man.
It's gutted right now. There's a lot of like wood glue drying in there. But that's what I'm doing, man. I think in disc golf, if you're not entrepreneurial, you better be damn good.
Yeah.
And if you don't really truly believe in disc golf, like as a sport, as a business, and as a pastime for like the entire world, you better be damn good.
Yeah.
Paul Macbeth is taking that route. There are players trying to take his route.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Really hard.
And you make it sound...
Brody? Brody's a world-class athlete. Yeah. I think he played for Team USA Ultimate. Like he's... Dude's a freak with a Frisbee. But that's like... I know for a fact he's going to try to take the Paul Macbeth route.
Yeah.
Because... when you play any sport at that level, you know what it feels like. to be on the top stage. Everyone's watching you.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting, and then when he started the YouTube, he was like, you know, he had people in Dubai like, hey, come out here and teach us Frisbee. He just manifested this crazy life for himself.
I think Simon's doing a lot right now too. You know, he just monetized it, and he's, you know,
doing those trick shots.
Crazy. He's got like 50,000 people now.
And that
trick shots.
Man.
He's such a talented human being, and he's, again, it's another one of those people like, he's amazing and he's entrepreneurial, and he just really loves Frisbee.
Yep.
You know, he said, I did
just
an after
super
show.
Passionate.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I did an after show with him. We did that virtual putting invitational thing that they have. Simon was telling me in the after show, like, this quarantine made him the most productive he's ever been in his entire life, and it's like changed the course of his career.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
because it opened new doors for him.
I can't wait to see what disc golf has to offer after this.
Oh, we're gonna,
because this is just allowing everybody to just practice up and get ready for this next tournament.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know what people are up to. Like, it's very easy to be like, well, crap, this is over. It's very uncertain. What do I do? And some people don't have money saved up, man.
Some people are gonna take this and go, all right, we really need the focus.
Yeah.
Or some people might take another path.
Yeah.
So does disc golf pay unemployment right now then?
It depends on your contract. So for me, I kind of did get a stimulus check from disc golf.
For sure.
Oh, cool.
You know, they ran 100 Tour Series discs early and paid us 100% of the profits. You know, so we got a nice hefty check to kind of get us through a few weeks, you know, not to say I'm living large, but, you know, and then I'm teaching lessons and doing video lessons, and, you know, it's unemployment in a different sense. Like, I don't just get a check, but, I've been very fortunate. Like, you know, those first 100 zones came out, I got the check for it. It helped me with, you know, all my living costs, like, for the, you know, that whole quarantine period in Chicago and whatnot, and now the zones got released on the 22nd, and you know, the royalties are really like how you can sustain on the road. You can't be living, you know, big like some of these other pro athletes in different sports, but if you live cheaply and you enjoy living cheaply, it's easy, man, to live off the royalties and the, you know, the gas cards and the tournament entries, you know, being paid for. Like, your maximum amount that you make is maybe not high, but your expenses are extremely low.
Exactly.
So, kind of.
The stress is probably not high.
Not as high,
You're always having fun.
There's a stress in being like, all right, well, I got to do something. I have to take care of the community somehow. Otherwise, like, why would anyone, you know, want to do anything for me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not entitled to anything in this sport. Like, touring for disc golf is barely a profession, you know, so it's not sustainable unless you are out there. Like, so that's my thing. That's
it's really cool of you to say that you're not entitled to anything.
You're not. You know, I think a lot of pros think they are entitled to things. They think they're entitled to complain about courses after a tournament that they signed up for.
Right.
You know, rather than going to the TD and having a really personal conversation.
Yep.
They think they're entitled to contracts that are like, what is your ROI as an athlete? Like, what do you do? Like, other than get, you know, 15th place at a tournament that you're not filmed at.
Yep.
You know, like, you're good, but you're not worth.
But you're not bringing
what you're
anything
saying
in.
You're worth. So it's really, that's where the stress comes in.
Yeah.
It's like, am I beating Paul Macbeth every weekend? No, I'm not. I have good weekends and I have some okay weekends, you know, and then I miss cash a couple weekends every year, you know, but it's how you take care of the community in your own way. I think that is very valuable.
That's awesome.
You take that pro platform that you have and you use it to either push a service that you can give. Like, for me, I'm trying to do the video lessons, and then, you know, I teach in-person lessons, but right now I'm not. And then I do the podcast, and I used to do a blog, and I do commentary, and I try to dip my feet everywhere, but if you give like a disc golf resume to a company and it's just like, I got 20th here, I got 7th one weekend, like they're like, gonna be like, okay, that's good, you're good, but
you're all over the place.
But what are you bringing?
You're a wet towel, man. Like, you have no personality, but
So to get sponsored, did you have to have that kind of platform with all the social media to get sponsored? Or did you just get sponsored based on your pure talent?
Yeah, good question. So I think it was a little bit of both. So 2017 is when I signed with Discraft. I've only thrown Discraft my whole life, and I wasn't really reaching out to companies. But there was a year when I started to realize I thought I was good at disc golf, and then I realized, like, man, in the scope of the world, I'm not that good at disc golf. I could be better. So I started putting a lot more hours in, practicing. I stopped playing, like, leagues and whatnot. I kind of dissociated from the community, which kind of sucked, but also I knew what I wanted. And then I really loved teaching it, but I didn't know where to start. So I realized, like, I tried treating it like freemium video games in the sense of, like, I'm going to give you a free product, and I'm going to give you a free product. Eventually, hopefully, everybody loves this product enough to where they want to pay me. Yep. And 2017...
Cool. The essence of YouTube.
Yeah. That's 2017, I, like, begged on social media for people to send me videos of them throwing. I was like, I'll do free, analysis. I'll give you very thorough responses, tangible action items. And I did like 50 to 75, like good, thorough lessons that were like page-long responses like throughout a summer. Yeah. And I helped a lot of people out. Word spread. A few of the people had connections within Discraft. And then I also was starting to place really well. I won, Indiana States. Yeah. I was winning some tournaments. I got second to Kale, but I lost to Kale by 1 at Silver Cup.
Bastard.
The
guy's awesome. I love that guy.
I love Kale.
He's so nice. I met him
He's
at...
super smooth. He's got such a smooth
one of my favorite backhand throwers.
I met him at Bohart that year.
Yeah, he was playing Rocky Mountain Championships.
That was really
cool. But it was just a perfect storm at that time. And then Nate Heinold, tournament director of Ledgestone, saw everything I was doing and put a word in. And I think a couple other people put a word in, and there were enough words went in to where they had a slot open up at the bottom level.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm not switching companies because first off, I've been throwing the Zone and Buzz for like 10 years.
That's super smart of you. Yeah. Once you figure out the discs that you want to throw, it's really hard to change over.
Yeah, and unless it's scary though. It's like I see players switch companies, and sometimes when they tell you the money they're getting from a certain company, you're like, damn, man, congratulations.
Yeah.
But it's a process to change bags, and I think it's Yuli told me switching from Prodigy to like Discraft, or Macbeth switching from Innova to Discraft. He's like, you can't take your Buzz and throw it like a rock. You can't take your Force and throw it like a D1. You have to change the way you throw.
You pretty much have to start over.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I didn't know if I wanted that, and Discraft was a
not like your skills are gone, but you have to get reacquainted with your every single disc in your bag, down from putters to drivers, everything.
When you're as good as Paul, when you've been throwing as long as they have, you notice, like I said before, you could throw 20 buzzes and like 3 of them, and those 3 do exactly what you want. You can fine tune what you exactly want from a disc, and I think I knew with Discraft that I just wanted to stay, and until even right now, until I get to a point where I feel like they're kind of not giving me what I deserve, but that also is a lot of like introspective looking, like always looking at like, what am I really worth?
What am I worth?
And I think Discraft's really good at telling you what you're really worth. And it really, every year you negotiate is a reality check.
Cool.
Like, Bob will sit you down and be like, I'm not giving you that. Like,
that's good, because
look what you did.
It pushes you to be that person next year.
Yeah, and I like that. And I don't want a company who's throwing out money left and right.
If you're always winning, you're not winning.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. I think it was a mixture of just finally helping out the community, and then my skills also kind of caught up to the talent that I thought I had at the time.
Yeah,
so,
that's dope.
Yeah, crazy stuff, man.
Did you just start with 2 discs like every other? We call them falfers, not disc golfers. Disc golfer is someone who has the bag. Yeah, chuckers. Just
it's such a derogative term. Look at this guy trying to enjoy himself.
I know. Right? Who are you?
So I started when I was like 11 or 12. I've been throwing a frisbee since I was like a little kid, but when I finally found out disc golf was like a real thing, my dad and I went and we got like the Innova starter pack, and it was a birdie, the DX birdie,
nice,
DX leopard, and then shark.
I was gonna say shark.
So we split that initially, And my dad thought it was a scam at first because the disc just went left. And my dad's pretty good throwing like an ultimate disc.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, these suck. These are terrible." Like they were just crashing out. But I looked at, it was actually crazy. The picture of Ken Climo on the packaging.
Oh, right.
It was like 9-time world champion Ken Climo. And I looked at it like, if he's throwing this, so there's got to be something to it. You know, there's got to be. So to me, it's clever marketing.
Dude, that's insane. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's how you. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's how I approach like beer or food too. Like if some chef is like very proud of this and it's like a local specialty, but some people think it's gross, I don't ever think it's gross. I'm like, if some people love this dish or this beer or this coffee, there's something very good about it.
Cool.
So with disc golf, that was how it was for me. At first I was throwing the birdie and I didn't, because I was going straight for me. But then I got an Archangel.
That was my first putter.
Hell yeah,
I love
let's
it.
go.
I never pizza putting. Pizza putting all day, baby.
Exactly.
It just glided.
But then my first love was a DX Archangel. That was when I bought a solo disc. I rode my bike to the store with a friend of mine because I was like, all right, my dad's probably not going to buy me any more of these, so I'm going to buy some of these. And I took change out of their little change jar. And if you ever hear this podcast, Mom and Dad, I stole a lot of money from you guys when I was a kid. This change jar was fat, dude. They were just stocking up. But I found a bunch of quarters, bought an Archangel, and I learned flick.
Hey, look where you're at now, though.
Yeah, life's good,
Look where you're at.
But I learned flick, and that's when things started to make sense for me. So I played only flick for a while. I tried throwing backhand, but there was no instructionals or Jomez. There's not much to model after.
Yep.
And then it's another funny thing. Like we're in the past 10 years, we're finally, because of the max distance drivers that benefit a biomechanical throw, like a biomechanically sound throw.
Yep.
We're just now getting players that are throwing biomechanically sound. You watch like Barry and Climo and Schwebe, they're all throwing nose up. They're all, because that's how you have to control the nose, like the angle of the disc was wing angle.
Release low, nose up.
Yeah.
Ride.
And just snap the hell out of it, right?
Yeah.
And it looks sick,
Yeah.
But I was watching, I think Barry Schultz was the guy I was trying to learn backhand from. You can't just teach yourself air bounce if you don't know how to throw a frisbee, So I threw flick exclusively for a long time. And then when I played ultimate in college, 5 years after that, it got even worse because in ultimate, the quickest throw is a sidearm.
Right.
So that's when I really only started throwing like 50-50 backhand sidearm like 2 years ago. Other than that, I was just throwing like the craziest sidearm. Shout outs to the Archangel.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. The Archangel.
Sure.
Do they even make
That's
the
how
Archangel
everybody
anymore?
I think so. I think only DX.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they do.
What are the numbers on that?
It's like a 9.
Just so you know, you're a long ways away from this thing.
It's like a 9.5 -3
Do you mind if
2 1 or something.
squeeze by you real quick?
Yeah,
Might as
dude,
well
come
just sit
on in,
here.
man.
Join the...
Oh
my
so
God.
upset with myself.
Might as well just take it away.
It looks really bad if there's just white.
But
there we go. I got it.
Yeah, they make it.
What are the numbers on it?
It's like a 9.5 -3 1 or something like that.
Fairway driver?
Yeah, it's like a fairway distance like hybrid.
Gotcha.
I loved that disc. And then the Wraith came out like shortly after. I started playing right when the Orc became a disc. So then I got an Orc when I found out it was like the fastest thing. That's when I started reading the flight numbers. I was like, I gotta ride my bike to this place and get an Orc, and then I got this.
When was this? What year?
It was like 2004.
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
Okay.
2000, yeah, something along. Because I played my first tournament 2 years after that.
That's right about when the Orc came out, because that was my first disc.
Oh, really?
That's when I threw flick as well. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was what I started with, was just a bunch of DX plastic. We didn't really have any discraft in our area.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
yeah.
What about strength and conditioning? Outside of disc golf. That was my next question. I know you had that shoulder injury. How was that? Are you fully healed from that? Or?
Yeah. So I'm learning very quickly that the older I get, even though I'm only 28, your body just stops adapting unless you take care of it. And that shoulder injury in 2018 kind of woke me up to that.
Yeah.
So long story short, I wore a shoulder brace all of 2018, and it was literally immobilizing me just enough to where I could throw, but nothing else could be done. But it was, it was just an overuse impingement injury. You know, like my big muscles were so tired because I played every day. And Seth Munsey from Disc Golf Strong is like, best part about disc golf, you can play every day. Worst part about disc golf is you can play every day.
Yeah, that's so true.
You know, pitchers aren't going to pitch every day. But when I went on tour, dude, I was like, I don't have to go to work? This is sick. So I practiced like 6-7 hours a day. I was pumped. And then, you know, 2 months later, I couldn't lift my elbow off my side. I've never had this happen to me before. And I've been playing Frisbee my whole life, you know. So, but then I found out that season ended. I went to a trainer, told him exactly what I needed, told him what my problem was, sent him some videos of disc golf. Like I sent him some videos of sidearms and backhands. And,
the mechanics.
Dude, first thing was like we were doing a lat pull down. And he was like, that form is actually looking good, but your right lat is firing and your left one is not firing at all.
Oh.
So I was like, He goes, how does this feel? And he like takes, you know those massage guns that they have? He had one on the lowest setting and just tapped it, and I was like, ow!
Shit.
So the lat was not firing, and then my on the other side of like the armpit, my pec minor was, they were both shut down pretty much. It was like a neuromuscular, like my body was like, please stop moving. You know?
But you didn't even know?
Well, I just didn't know, like, fitness, like, biomechanics, like, no, because you can still throw
You're
a Frisbee.
so used to doing it.
You can still throw a Frisbee without engaging these.
Right.
But you know what has to fire is all the tiny little rotator cuff muscles at that point.
And you're trying to compensate for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of the round, you started getting tired, tight.
Well, it got to a point where I couldn't lift my elbow off my side.
Yeah.
It was complete shutdown, dude. Like, it was the worst thing that's ever happened.
If you're playing that much, 6 to 8 hours a day.
And
that's a lot.
And I was stretching, but, like, you know, I wasn't recovering. Like, I wasn't foam rolling, and like, because you know, I've been playing my whole life, and when you're a kid, you hop off your bike, rip as fast as you can,
play
like
6 rounds a day.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But so after that moment, he's like, dude, I think you can fix this as quickly as taking a lacrosse ball and like putting it up against a wall and jamming it into your lat and rolling it into your pec. I guarantee you're going to see a difference. And I worked with him all winter. And, you know, all the, you know, resistance band stuff that we were training with. And, dude, I had 0 shoulder injuries in 2019. Awesome. And all I did, my routine was I foam rolled my back and my glutes to make sure my legs were ready, too, so my arm didn't have to work as hard. So glutes and hamstrings are big, too. And then, I took that lacrosse ball. I eventually bought the massage gun. They're amazing, dude.
One of those. I've used them once, and it's just like, what the hell?
Dude, you go 30 seconds on your lat, 30 seconds on the pec line, and then you can kind of go up and down the.
Yeah, they're so nice.
What are the prices on a decent?
They're
that
so
one
expensive.
Is like $300.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah,
a good one. You want to get a good one too.
I swear to God, like it.
How often do you do that?
Every day.
Every day.
Every
Before you
day.
play?
Is this
after?
Just like just right after?
I stretch and do like a basic, kinetic warm up, and then I
so
throw.
The stretching, how much do you stretch? Is that like every morning?
Yeah, I wake up every morning and I'll do like a little like yoga movement, like where you kind of like get down. I'm not going to show you, but you know,
come on. I'll change the camera. Come on.
Tilt the camera. Get on the ground.
You do a few basic stretches. You get like your shoulder blade kind of like, you get your like scapular mobility going. Like I'll get on the floor and do like W's where I lay on the floor and get my elbows into my side, and I do a bunch of those and sleeper stretches, and I do that damn near every day. And I think it's just, some people can play disc golf forever and not have an injury. Zach Johnson's one of the sickest sidearm throwers I've ever seen, and he's never had a shoulder injury. And the kid will, he'll pound a shot of Fireball right before he starts playing a tournament round sometimes if he's nervous. You know, I think I just kind of caught the bad break. My dad ripped his rotator cuff pitching in college. My mom has had bad shoulders her whole life, and you got to spend more time on it than other people. And that's how it's gone. But it's like, that was my first taste of aging. That was after 27 years. I was like, all right, I'm very young, and it was like to taste that early. I was like, all right, so just simple stuff. Just wake up and stretch, warm up before your round, ice and massage afterwards. Like that's just, and some people don't have to do that, and I have to. So it's just how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I have a Planet Fitness membership, so on tour, like you'll go and do like, basic like body weight workouts, and you're not trying to do like Olympic lifts or anything like that.
Yeah. What about like tournament day? Let's say you have a tee time at 8. Like what time do you get to the course? to get ready.
Dude, it actually really depends, man.
Just day of, or is there like a week-long preparation for a tournament?
Yeah. Good question. So it's refining year after year, and I've only been on tour for 3 years, but touring with Yuli showed me, like, if it doesn't matter how prepared you think you are, and doesn't matter what you've done before a tournament, you still have to bring it. Like, you're not entitled to anything, doing all these workouts and doing all these crazy, like, early morning routines if you're not in the right mental state to just bring it. Because Yuli would beat me at some tournaments when we were touring, and he didn't do anything. And I thought, like, is he, like, losing the fire? Like, what is his, what's going on? And he knew that there were certain weekends that if you have the mental capacity to do that, do it. Stretch your body, warm it up.
So it's all
mental.
It just depends.
But most of the time I'll get there early, and I always really these days wake up and foam roll and do that kind of shit. But there are some days when everyone has a story though where they're like, I was so hungover, woke over this tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
I shot the round of my life first round. The thing about golf that I'm beginning to realize, like, what is your optimal? Because a lot of people really do get that comfort from preparing. And most of the time, that's how I am. Is like, wake up. But then there's some days when you're like, fuck, man, I got to go wing it. I've just got to wake up and do the damn thing, And it works sometimes, It doesn't, as long as your body is ready to go and your brain is ready to go. Like, that's...
How hard is it to keep your mental stability through an entire, like, 2-day tournament or 3-day tournament?
3-day tournament is pretty good. When you're playing well, it's harder because you get so zoned in, and then stuff outside of the tournament round begins to matter to you. Like, I think I tied for 7th at Memorial last year. I averaged like 1040, 1050 with all the best players in the world.
That's hot. That's super hot.
Yeah, and in the wind and whatnot, and being a lefty out there, I've never felt so dead in my life where like, you get done with a round and you're like, I don't want anything to jinx this mindset. I'm just cruising right now. Because when you finish a round in a 4-round tournament, you don't get to breathe easy. Like, you're playing 72 holes and you just have a couple breaks in between. So if you roll on your first round, don't breathe easy like you've done it. You got 54.
You just started.
So it's just a long week of, like, understanding your own superstitions, and don't even... not even questioning, like, okay, this is a weird thing that I need to have done, but I just have to do it. I don't have any specific examples, but it's just learning what makes you tick and not feeling like you have to be Rocky Balboa training and, like, grinding it out. Like, again, John Daly won a British Open against the best players in the world, smoking cigars and drinking beer. Disc golf and golf it's not football. It's more mental than, physical. It's about the same, I would say. Tournaments are if you really want to perform these days at a big event, like, everything you do outside of the round matters too.
Exactly.
Like, like Dennis Rodman. You guys watch that Michael Jordan documentary?
Yes, I did. Part of it.
When they said Rodman, I didn't know this, and I was watching that finals as a kid. When they
said Vegas?
Yeah, Rodman flew to Vegas during the NBA Finals and went on WWF SmackDown.
Really?
And then he flew back and he played. And he played sick. Like, that's sports.
Well, once you know what to do, you just have to be in the mindset to do it.
It's how do you execute the skills.
That's why I was asking how do you...
But he knows it. And he's like,
there's a different aspect with basketball and disc golf, though. Disc golf, you have to sustain that for hours and hours and hours over multiple days. Basketball, you have 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
2 hours.
And you're not playing for all of it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a whole nother level there.
And it's a team sport too. Disc golf.
Exactly.
It's you.
It's just you.
Yeah. So that's
which I love. Freaking love that about disc golf, because disc golf is a group sport, but at the same time, it's just you out there.
No, you're just playing the course. Yeah, that's it.
But there's so much camaraderie with it.
Oh yeah. No, it's a small, like, passionate, awesome community. But
the people that are in the community are just the best people.
Yeah.
I was looking through your Instagram and I was just like,
creeper.
I was like, he's playing it. What?
Is he a Pioneer?
I
was telling him, it's such a sick practice course to be a lefty at. I throw a different disc off the tee on every hole. It's so quaint.
I didn't think about it until you said that, but I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
I can run you through it in like 10 seconds. I go Tsunami Flick, Stalker Backhand. I go Banger GT on 3. I go Zeus on 4. 5, I go Comet. 6, I go XL. 7, I go Zone Flick. 8, I go Overstable Buzz. 9, I go Heat or Giant Sidearm with like a force. The current layout, you guys actually have some great, like, varied shots out there.
Definitely.
I have a question for you guys. Like, what is holding Montana back from having another Bohart?
Very good question.
Money.
Is it just someone with the right money to come in and grab the land, or
there's
not enough disc golfers?
There's a ton of people in Montana that are fulfers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really pay to play.
So the standard is just not set.
It's not set. No, not yet.
If you had like a Bohart,
but that's the thing.
If
we had multiple Boharts or something, but the thing Bohart it's gone. Yeah, so now we got set back into the Stone Ages almost.
Missoula's a different around Missoula's a different story. They're
not really anymore. Like they just don't have the courses.
Well, they don't have the room to expand.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the name of that one?
Blue Mountain.
Sky Ranch is cool.
Yeah, that's for
Blue Mountain's the OG.
Blue Mountain is one of my favorite.
It's awesome.
Oh, I love that place, man. Hole 6, is that the downhill one?
Yeah.
11, right?
No, it's like...
Isn't 11 that really long downhill one?
It would be 4 and 10 are the two that like...
Big downhill.
10, that's the one I'm thinking of.
So fun, dude. That to me, it's like when you play Picnic Island in Florida, you know you're in Florida. When you play Blue Mountain, you know you're in Montana.
For sure.
And that's what I think is cool about disc golf. Yeah, Diamond X is like 80% hiking, 20%.
Oh,
you know?
Right, no shit.
But 20% disc golf. But yeah, I worked at a private course, and the owner was heavy on online sales. My method, if I had a private course, would be like I'd keep my manager in the shop to run the show and make the sales. Maybe you give him a bonus if he sells a bunch. But I feel like I would be out, especially if I came to Montana and got a private course, I'd be out in schools doing school demos, passing out coupons, getting families that don't already know about the disc golf community.
Montana could be a big scene.
Because, dude,
it can be. Yes.
If someone comes out to your course, people, again, pay $10 for 18 holes of mini golf. And they come out to your beautiful wooded property in Montana and they pay $10, I would probably charge $15 to $20.
Yeah. There's an issue with the weather, though. There's half of it is snow. You can't play.
Well, that's what you'd have to do, like
you'd have to have
did for like snowmobiling or things
cross country skiing.
Biathlon too.
But yeah, I think that's the way to go, dude. You have to get the non-disc golf community. Kids are so hooked on the flight of a disc. It's like it's wild, dude. Yeah, because
it's like sitting in front of a fire.
Yeah, it's like nothing like a kid's ever seen before, and that's what happened to me when I was 8 years old in PE class. We played frisbee golf with the little squeegee aerobies, and I was like, if I go like this, is it gonna...
Yeah.
Oh, it does!
Learning this whole...
So if you go in there and you get the kids out there, man, and you get the families out there, dude, the families are gonna go, $20 for the whole day?
Yeah.
And I can do this, like...
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fact that you're just out in the mountains, out in the wilderness, you see squirrels, you might see a bear. Like,
dude, I think it's a tour. I think it's like a tourist thing. Come experience Montana.
People are disconnected from being in nature, and that's, to be honest, that's what I'm doing this podcast for.
Awesome, dude.
I just want to get people in the nature in any way, shape, or fashion. Right? Fishing, hunting, disc golf. It doesn't matter. Just get out of the city, or get into a park where you almost don't feel like you're in a city.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, dude.
That's what Pioneer offers. You're in the middle of Billings, but suddenly you're not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know,
dude, Pioneer Park gets some serious like traffic. Like
it does.
Not just the course, but like everything. Just playing tennis. But I think, is that a Montana thing? Just there's more outdoorsy people in Montana than
definitely.
Yeah, that's just like is that what draws people to move to a place?
I think there's more opportunities.
So. Yeah.
There's more opportunities. When you get into a big city, their thought... I just feel like they're not even thinking about that. But here we have 100,000 people in this town. So you're so close to being outdoors that it's on your mind all the time. I see. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you're in a city of 3 million, that's not what you're thinking about.
Yeah. No, I trust me, I know what you're saying. Like, I'm from Chicago suburbs, and like,
and that's horrible. What do we
have?
Not good. It's not good.
It's not good, man.
No, it's not good.
You know, I have a lot of fond memories of where I come from, you know, but it's because of friends and family. You know, like when it comes to like, disc golf community's great, very tight-knit, but it's just all, you know, a bunch of the crappy 9-hole courses. There's one really good one up north and then one south of the city. But yeah, it's like for outdoorsy stuff, like this just beats any place in the Midwest out, you know, blows it out of the water. But yeah, man, I think it's cool what you're doing. And that's the thing with podcasting, is just like, there can never be enough good stuff in this world, man. Like that in a world right now where shit is hitting the fan like big time. I don't know what's going on or what to believe. But
nobody does.
If you
nobody
so
fucking does.
Whatever, man. Get a kid outside and like give them a new passion. And I hope it's disc golf, because disc golf's incredible. But
like you said, just get out.
Yeah, man.
Just get outside.
For sure. Like, connect with the earth. But I think, like you said, like if you grow up here, I think you can take that beautiful scenery for granted. Like when you came here,
very true.
I don't know how you came here.
I came here 2 months before winter started, and I didn't even know what an ice scraper was when I moved here. And that's true. I came from San Diego and Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been a big city kid my whole life, and I came out here. My wife is from Billings, and so we decided to move up here and
open your eyes a little bit.
Yeah, it was a lot different. But the first thing I wanted to do is to find the disc golf community, and
that's why we're best friends.
You know, that was the quickest way
we met each other like right
too, and I think that's the coolest thing. You know, everywhere I travel, I bring my bag, and I think that's just like the best way to meet the community out there.
Dude,
for disc golf.
I know if I move to a new place, I will never have a problem making friends.
For sure.
Because
2 words, disc golf.
Yeah, because you don't have to pay to do it. Yeah. You can post up at a course all day, and eventually
just sit on hole 1. You'll find some cool people.
Well, and people will ask to play with you, and I think what I thought was really cool going back home to Chicago, I didn't realize how many people knew that I was traveling to play disc golf, and the disc golf community had changed. It blew up in my area while I was on the road, and you know, my brother is, you know, when I'm gone, he's the best player in Illinois. He's like, me and him are the same rating.
Really?
Yeah, he's sick. My younger brother is amazing.
Awesome.
And
how old is he?
22.
22.
He's a much more traditional style disc golfer. He's
righty.
He
lefty? Oh, he's righty. Yeah.
He's righty, backhand dominant with a sufficient sidearm and a nasty spin putt. That's like the future disc golfer.
What is he rating?
10-10. It just dropped a little bit after wake up.
You're both 10-10.
My brother is too. Yeah. So I struggle at certain courses. Gotcha. I struggle at certain courses, and I think to get to 10-20, 10-30 on tour, you have to have that style that works everywhere. There are courses like Vista at the Memorial. I haven't shot worse than 10-40 there in like.
So what are those courses you struggle at? What do you mean?
You know what, man?
Elevation change has something to do with it.
Yes, Utah I struggle at big time, but I think now I have a better concept for equipment, so I think I'll be able to play better there after 2 years. I didn't even shoot 1,000 rated there 2 years in a row at the Utah Open. 1,000 rated for 4 rounds, you might not cash anymore.
Damn. Yep.
You know, like you have to shoot well, and that's the thing. It's like 10-10 these days.
It's
like
pushing the
looks
bar.
Okay, but I am so unsatisfied with it. But it's because I show up to certain places like Beaver State Flank. I work my butt off there to make last cash. Like I shoot 10-20 golf out at Beaver State Flank, but it's a bunch of power righty, flat to fade 400-foot shots. So my sidearm is just like, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah. So there's just certain courses. Being a lefty, I have to have a good sidearm. I would say me and Chris Clemens are like, I have a little bit better finesse. He has a little bit better power, but you kind of have to have that unless you're absolutely nasty like Nathan Queen, you know, hyzer flip game. But yeah, there's just certain places where I just don't feel matched. I just don't feel good at it. And but that's what's fun about tour. You don't play the tournament based on the course, you play it based on the name of the tournament and the prestige of the tournament. So you're faced with a bunch of really cool challenges. So I'll do really well at a tournament and make great money, and then I'll get last cash at some tournament because I just feel like if I played my best golf, I'd get like 10th. Huh. You know, but my younger brother his style is more suited. He just graduated college, so he's starting to save up money. I think if he gets out there, people will know who he is. He's the nastiest spin putter I've ever seen. Better than Simon, better than any of these guys, but he only plays in Illinois. And he got 10-10 rated by playing C tiers in Illinois. So that's impressive in itself, man. Like
why doesn't he get out and do more?
Doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any money.
All right, fair.
He just the college kid thing, you try to make your money, and he got an accounting degree or a whatever degree, I don't know what he got, but some money degree. He should make good money, and I think when he does get to go out to certain places, I think...
Well, it depends on if he's passionate about it or not.
He's on fire for it. He loves it.
That's cool.
He loves it, and
cool.
I think...
So we'll see him soon?
But, But he has, I've told him, like, dude, I saved up about $20,000 to $25,000 because I didn't want to be the guy who was worried about a 10-foot putt, trying to make cash. So I was set when I went on tour. And I told him, I was like, dude, you got to save at least 10 to 15.
Yeah.
And then you have a little cushion, and you can get out there, and then if you do great... It
doesn't put a lot of pressure on that one putt.
Yeah, and then if you... Because see the future. Have a stress-free season, play as hard as you can, and if you get a good contract the next year, that's when things start to take off. And I had an average first year to my standards, and I got a good contract after that. Stuff happens, and with how good he is, I think spin putting is the future of disc golf. And dude, he is straight up boo, 50, 60, 70. He jump putts at 100 feet.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah, nasty.
That's
but
cool.
It's he's also 6'2" and actually athletically built. I'm 5'9" and kind of squatty. So I have to be creative in how I maneuver courses. But
do you still have the world distance record for a lefty?
What is it?
I don't think I do. There's Austin Turner throws comparably far to me. My farthest throw is only 633.
Have you ever done a competition like that? No.
I
with
got
30 mile an hour tailwind.
I got second at Worlds distance in 2013. Second, so I was the longest throwing lefty in 2013 Worlds.
Yeah.
I tied Double G.
Yeah.
And I lost to Wiggins by 6 feet. But that was my form was totally different back then.
Huh.
I was throwing way too hard. That was probably part of my shoulder injury.
What would that be, a force? What would you throw?
I was throwing. So actually, back then, that was in 2013. I was throwing. Prodigy actually was looking at me and gave me a stack of D3s, I believe, and then I had one destroyer. And that was just way back in the day. Yeah. And then the D3s all went comparable distance, and then the destroyer went a few feet farther, and then I got second. But distance-wise, that's my only claim to fame. Was I tied Double G, which felt pretty damn good.
He's got a freaking cannon.
That guy.
Insane.
And he keeps getting better.
Right.
And he's just an all-around generally nice dude.
Yeah, he won the sportsmanship award and started crying. He was at World last year, and he was just this award means so much to me. And his mom passed away, and he was my mom, this is the only award my mom would be proud of me for. I was like, oh my God, it's like a movie, dude. It's like a movie. He's such a good dude.
We got to see him. He's
a great guy.
He's awesome.
That video, dude. Yeah. Being able to see him live do that shot where you have to go out 200 feet or so, and then there's this massive pond right there where you have this tiny tunnel that you have to go through 200 feet, and usually people just go out and land right there and then go over the pond. He just fucking pumped it and went over everything, over the pond, and crushed it out and landed 30 feet past it. Yeah. We're what the fuck just happened?
No big deal. No big deal.
And he comes up, and it's such an easy throw to him. He comes up and just, boom, it's there.
Well, dude.
It's crazy. He's...
Okay. That is an example, in my mind, of course design that can be improved. We have this equipment that came out where the players are oh, I can actually throw correctly and throw it far and fast. That's the difference between I guarantee you the only guy blowing 80 miles an hour back in the day was Stokely. He was and he was throwing a DX Banshee.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we have guys blowing 80 plus a lot these days.
All the time.
Not a ton of players, but the new top echelon of distance
throwers. But they do it consistently.
If they're smashing a drive, so here's the thing. You have a hole like that, and is there OB on that hole at all?
Yeah, there is.
I don't remember the hole that you're talking about.
You're standing on the tee pad, and about 4 feet to your left is this OB line.
Vista?
Yeah, Vista.
Yeah.
What hole?
I think they changed it.
It was hole 11.
It's not the same.
It's against the fence line in the corner.
You went last year?
Oh!
And there's a little green, and then
you know what I'm talking about?
You can go over it.
And you can go over the water.
So here's the thing. Yeah.
You'd be good for that hole with the lefty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Good or bad?
Depends.
You can
get yourself in trouble.
You can get yourself in trouble. Yeah, so the year that it was a par 4, I played it for it was a par 3 last year.
Yeah, last year they changed it.
I might be able to find that footage I took.
The aggressive play, God, course design is so fascinating to me. So you have a hole like this, and you have players like, if you had all the top power players there, Double G, Paul Macbeth, Eagle,
Nate Doss,
Simon,
all those guys.
Yeah. Doss only played for birdie, but because he didn't have to do crap like that back in the day to win the world championship. Not to say that he's not. He's one of the best throwers I've ever seen in my entire life, if not top. But when you have a hole like that, the player who has that ability to go over is like, all right, well, the OB is designed that if I happen to go OB on this giant drive, I'm getting a up and down par, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? But if I landed in bounds, I get a birdie.
Right.
If I get close, I can eagle.
Right.
If I play it conservatively off the tee, it's a 3, 4, 5, or 6 rather than a 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
So the concept about Yuli and I agree on this a lot, and his whole thing is there needs to be on certain holes stroke and distance needs to be done because if you say this is Yuli's big example, he's like, okay, it's like 800 feet. There's OB on both sides. Basket's out here. He's like, I step up and I lace a perfect hyzer flip 400 feet, middle of the fairway. And it was just a beautiful shot. I played it conservative but aggressive, and I landed it in bounds, no problem.
Yeah.
Eagle McMahon steps up and throws a fucking max distance giant Annie nose up shot that goes 600 feet and lands out of bounds.
Yeah. But
Eagle gets to go chip shot forehand from 200 feet and get an easy par, but if he gets it in bounds, maybe the hole's not 800 feet, he gets a shot at eagle or birdie.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you just took one side of the fairway and you made it stroke and distance, maybe whatever the designer thinks is the more error prone, side, maybe you burn it out, maybe you hyzer it too much, then they have to think. And then they get rewarded. If they do go out of bounds right, whatever. Like, they can do whatever they want because you should be rewarded for throwing far in certain holes.
Definitely.
But the player who ropes a shot 400 feet that still has 400 feet left to go to the basket, 200-foot upshot to 400-foot upshot is so different.
Right.
So
massive.
There's players, just like James Harden is breaking a lot of rules in the NBA. He's, like, really making people look at the rules. There's players in disc golf right now that are, like, really making people think, like, crap, like, what is difficult?
Garrett Gerthy.
Yeah, what actually is difficult? Every course has like a Double G story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because he knows if I do this ridiculous shot and I at least land in bounds and then go, roll out of bounds, or I cross in bounds and go out of bounds, I get to take my shot all the way the hell up there.
Yep.
And people are scrambling through the woods over here.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Or one guy maybe throws an incredible hyzer flip and is in the middle of the fairway, but still has to scramble through all this crap. And I just...
And you just go over it all.
And 2014 was when Simon came over, and I firmly believe Simon had a big deal to do with course design changing. There's a lot of videos of him coming over and holes where, like, they're like, oh, we pushed our pro pad back, like, super far, and he goes, spec geyser. And the fans liked it back then.
Yeah.
These days, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, we expect you to do the Spikeiser. Like, people would rather see Kale LaVisca take a flippy driver and go
right up the middle. It looks better on camera.
And it's
you
harder.
Can't see what he's doing. The second he throws, it's out of camera.
Yeah.
It's more technical,
And all of a sudden you see it land, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Well, it's also like the overstable disc is forgiving, but if you force... European course design is like this. They force the player to... That's why Seppo throws the way he does. Even his distance drives are nose up because he stalls them and flexes them and does all this cool stuff with it. And they force those shots. They utilize double and triple mandos a lot more, which I think if you watch drone racing, no one questions the drone racing where the drones are flying through the hoops. And I love the idea of a triple mando to force you through a harder shot.
Yeah,
Spikeiser on some holes is fine, but
when you have a course that's all Spikeisers, don't go to High Sierra.
You want to balance.
Just don't go to High Sierra.
But, it's like, that's what we're starting to see is course design is changing to where the power hyzer is not as silver plattered to you anymore.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that that's going to go away soon. But
what about like ball golf courses versus like wooded courses? What do you like to play better? Do you like the more technical lines, or do you like those big open like traditional golf courses that seem to be really prevalent in a lot of tournaments now?
It is,
I love a mix. I love a mix. Nokia in Finland has a mix of everything. It kicked my ass. I shot 0,000 rounds there. I missed the cut, got my ass whooped, and I dreamed about the course ever since I left. And it's you throw every speed of disc. You throw it left, you throw it right. Yeah. There's OB, there's stroke and distance. There's different rules of out of bounds, so it's not just take it where you went out. And there's just a variety of danger. And at the top level, the players are so good where it's not golf anymore. You can't compare it to traditional golf off the tee. This is darts. We're playing darts.
That's a good analogy.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah. So the putting, everyone thinks it's drive for show, putt for dough. Dude, you know how Nate Doss won his
approach for everything.
Yeah, you know how Nate Doss won his world championships? He put his challenger under the basket every fucking time, man. That dude is so accurate.
When you don't even need to putt, really, that's how you win it. I mean, you just driving it right under the basket.
I don't know how long you're hanging out, but
I don't know either.
I'll be back here in a little while.
We're chilling.
All right, brother. Good seeing you.
But yeah, so I like a course that if you're doing like a multi-course tournament, I'm cool with like a super wooded and a super open course. But if you're playing one course for 3 or 4 rounds, I want it to have power, like Spikeiser type shots, distance driver. I want shaped distance driver. I want shaped forehands. I want shaped backhands. I want touch shots. I want an ace run hole. I actually love the concept of a hole that can be aced once on a course. For sure. And if you throw a crap shot, you go out of bounds. But if you throw a decent shot, you have a shot at really acing it.
I think that's important for the growth of disc golf too, because you want ace opportunities because that's how you get the views too. That's where you really get the
throw-ins,
millions
aces.
of viral views.
But you also see the humbleness of somebody just going off a cliff.
Sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, so that's kind of what I think, man.
That's cool.
Finland just blew my mind. And
that's pretty awesome.
They think about shot shaping more than we do.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like that. Looking at the way they lay out holes, you're like, wow, that's really
It's just
cool.
subtle. It's very subtle.
It is.
They acknowledge that there are different types of hyzers and there's different types of anhyzers, and they want to make you throw a lot of different types.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
Where's Konopiste? Awesome. Is that Czech Republic?
Czech Republic.
Yeah. Have you played there before?
I've not. I didn't get to go there. And then the year that I could have gone, I don't know if they even had it. I think it stopped running last year.
Really?
But that's a course where
they're not doing it anymore.
I think they're doing it next year. Don't quote me on it. But there's not enough OB out there, and someone said it. I think it might have been Yuli that was talking about it, or James said something about it. Like, there's a learning curve to it because it's hard off the tee. But these days, you have to have out of bounds for players. It used to be the flex in like the 90s in the 2000s for the course designer to be like, "Yeah, I have the hardest course, no OB. We don't need OB around here." And then eventually, 2010s and then closer to now, Dude, if
it's all OB.
You take the best players in the world out to a course with no OB, I don't care how long you make it.
Yeah.
People are going to shoot 13, 14 under par.
Let's talk about Diamond X. How did you do out there?
I didn't keep score.
You didn't? Okay.
I birdied a lot of holes.
Yeah. There's a lot of birdie bowls.
Like, for us, Diamond X is tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough course. I mean, you could throw one time and all of a sudden you have like an 8 or something. Like, you could really mess up out there.
That I haven't gotten to experience yet. I haven't gotten to experience scoring around there. I'll report back when I do. Yeah, I right now it's just van. I stopped doing lessons. I stopped doing everything. I'm just focused on the van. And because once that feels like home, life's going to be good.
Yeah, awesome. Then you can focus on something.
Yeah,
something
dude.
Yeah. It's really important to focus on something.
Yeah.
And then go on to something else.
Yeah, I
mean, it's really important to do that.
We're building cabinets from scratch. Like, everything is scratch because none of the angles in the van are 90 degrees. Mm-hmm. Everything is a little bit rounded.
It's all custom.
So every single cut you make is custom cut.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of time. The cabinets, like, normally you just go slide it in, screw it in, boop, boop. But for us, it's not. It's like the base of our cabinet is like, this one's 17 and 3/8. This one is 17 and 1/8. Like, oh my god, dude. Yeah. But
that's cool. You're doing that though.
It's gonna. I bet that's gonna look really good.
Yeah. I'm stoked, man. Nate Perkins is another good friend of mine, and his van is so clean. It looks like it's at a magazine, like a van magazine.
Really?
Like, and that's like the freedom that I think of.
Who does he tour with?
He tours with Alyssa Van Lannon, the photographer for the tour. Yeah. So they both hustle super hard, and like they put both their money into the van. Like he got the Mercedes Sprinter, he financed it fully, like, and he took the risk, and it's paying off.
That's
like,
cool.
Big time.
Awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, man. Dude, you guys are letting me talk disc golf. I love it. Screw you guys, man. What a great day.
For sure. Yeah, thanks for doing this.
All right, well, what's your other passions?
I think that's when I was younger, it was a problem for me. I love everything, dude. There's not a food I don't like. There's not like a beer I won't try. So man, dude, my parents thought I was going to be a game show host when I was a kid. I've always loved games. That's just what I've always loved, right? I bowled the 300 when I was 13.
Damn. Jesus. Wow. Seriously?
Yeah. Second youngest in Illinois history for a while.
That's cool.
But then it was a turning point in my life, actually. It was the first time a sport had ever been taken seriously for me. So 13, I was just getting into disc golf too. And that was fun for me.
Yeah.
Bowling, I shot that round, and it was at a league too, so like everybody saw it. It was like hundreds of people saw it, and all these, I had coaches that wanted to do lessons for me, and that's when I kind of woke up, and I was like, oh, sports are fun for me. I don't want to just get good for the sake of getting good. I want to do it my own way. And then looking back, I realized I'm bowling. If I ever do a disc golf lesson with a kid, my first goal is to make sure that they leave with some tool to love the game more.
Yeah.
If it just means me teaching them a little trick to throw it better, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
And then we'll just play games the rest of the lesson, right? For me, the coaches were just like, all right, you have to do it this way, and probably because they saw potential in me. But then I quit. I quit a year later. I bowled 1 year in high school for it. We got third in state. It was like somehow a really good bowling program.
Wow. And
I stopped bowling. Dance Dance Revolution. You ever play that game?
Oh, yeah.
When you were younger? I played tournaments for that game.
Did you?
Yeah, I was that guy that everyone was, filming and whatnot at the arcade. I was good at that game.
Awesome.
I play music. I'm not crazy serious about music. But
what do you do?
I play the guitar. I have a really nice banjo that I got really good at for a while.
Cool. Dope.
Don't really like bringing it on the road because it's just much more fragile of an instrument than a guitar, and leaving it in a hot car just seems like you're abusing it.
Oh, for sure.
So I pick a little guitar and banjo, and I like to sing, and I like podcasting like you, and I like cooking, I like beer, I like coffee, I like everything, man.
Yeah.
But it's like I think I've realized that the true joy comes from just picking a craft and then mastering it and then looking back on the journey of mastering it.
Right.
That's my new thing is like, you know what, man, if it means me being a disc golfer for 10 years, 15 years, and then I want to become a baker, I'm going to go hard into baking for 10 years. I don't know. But it's
and
like
then it might change after that.
Because to me, it's like at the end of my life, I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I dabbled in all this stuff. I want to look back and be like, wow, the world is wild. And like, the farther I dive into disc golf and the Frisbee and everything, the more I realize how much I don't know about it. And it's fascinating to me. And that's the same thing with everything I just told you. Like, I bet if I got into traditional golf, I probably would be, I played in high school, but it was too expensive after I stopped playing, but I'd be probably into that. I probably would be doing golf for a living if that was, whether it's playing or teaching or whatever. I think when I was on the road for disc golf, it made me realize, like, you kind of dig deep a lot about like meaning in life and whatnot. And I realized, recently that I don't know if there is a meaning, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You just choose something and you just
go hard.
Do it. And if
go hard, yeah.
And if you're, obviously all of us sitting here have a level of privilege that we should be happy and blessed that we have,
Yeah.
So when we're sitting here with it, what do we do with it? So for me, it's like right now I'm going to just choose to, master these things that I like, hopefully affect a community in some way, shape, or form. So that's cool. What are your other passions? Cool. You can't, after some beer, you can't ask me what my passions
are. It's a loaded question. Well, I got to take a piss. Do you guys want to talk, or do you want to end it here?
Oh, we can end it.
Yeah, let's end it,
We're at about an hour and 50.
Yeah, fuck, man. You got me going, dude.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, awesome. Any plugs? Do you want to mention anybody? Mention some sponsors? Or?
All right, straight up. Disc golf. Well, not disc golf. Discraft, Wander Disc Golf, Delwood Disc Golf, Grip Equipment. You guys are helping me through my first craft in my life, so thank you.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it, man.
My guys.
Dude,
cool.
Yeah, so cool that you did this.
And, yeah, man, dude. I love talking disc golf.
Sure. Love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, awesome, dude, man. For sure. For sure. Cool. I'll go for hours on this kind of stuff, man. I love, I just really believe in this game. Like, the more people get into disc golf recreationally, the more athletes will get into disc golf recreationally.
You're right, yeah.
And if we like competitive disc golf growing, I don't think we have to worry about it, dude.
There was a video of Amir Garrett.
I saw that,
yeah. Man, he had a crazy forehand. Yeah, I mean, he throws like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He's a Cincinnati Reds pitcher.
Dude, we're gonna get there where we're gonna go through a phase where crossover athletes getting into disc golf is gonna be insane. It's gonna be nuts.
It's great for the sport. Yeah.